Hi, welcome to this instruction video on project start management. This instruction video is about the project startup phase. The project startup phase is the phase that starts directly after the labeling of your project and finishes when your project has actually started. This is a very important phase because this is the phase where your partners apply for national funding and decisions are made about this funding. It might be that not all partners get funded, so it might be necessary to adapt your project during this phase. Therefore, it is recommended to manage this phase really as a separate project. What are the main activities in this phase? First of all, partners must contact their PAs and apply for national funding as soon as possible. Plan and monitor this phase based on national application deadlines. So check really when there is a deadline if people really submit their national applications and if they are ready for that. And also the expected funding decisions. As I mentioned, it might be that not all partners get funding, so therefore it might be necessary to reorganize your project. Also adapt it according to the recommendations provided at the FPP evaluation. When you are in a more stable situation, submit a change request and adapt the full project proposal if necessary. After that, you still have to take a few steps. For instance, agree on the project cooperation agreement and get signatures from all the partners. And also install a project coordination committee. Then you're ready to go. In order not to have this ITEA startup phase to an unlimited time period, ITEA has introduced from ITEA 3 Call 3 onwards that the ITEA label awarded to an ITEA project automatically expires after 10 months. When the project has not yet started within this period. There might be an exception that the ITEA board support group and the public authorities jointly decide otherwise. To keep the ITEA label for your project after these 10 months, the project should be running and a change request must be submitted and approved in case your project is running only with a small subset of partners compared to the original FPP work plan. So it might be necessary that when not all partners have yet funding, that you only start with those partners that have already the funding. Inactive partners should be removed from the project 10 months after the labeling. As you can see, this is an important step in the ITEA startup phase, and with this measure we try to avoid that applications are not submitted and also that decisions are taken too long. What about the FPP evaluation feedback? We recommend to analyze carefully the feedbacks from the FPP evaluations, from the public authorities on one side and the ITEA steering group reviewers on the other side. About the public authorities feedback, take them into account for national applications. For the steering group feedback, there are some mandatory improvements. They must be addressed at the first reporting occasion. So for instance, the change request, the project progress report or a project review. We also recommend to avoid overconfidence as well as underestimation based on the public authorities' feedback colors. They are just an indication, it's not a fact. We can say that red is normally a very strong negative signal and you have to check with the public authorities whether it's still useful to continue in the project. Green is a positive signal, but don't take it as a granted. There is no guarantee for funding. Blue has a quite different meaning depending on the country, so please check it with your public authorities. In any case, there is no guarantees from these colors. Therefore, we recommend to get in contact with your public authority. get more detailed feedback on their comments and specific requirements. About the communication with your respective public authorities. As a coordinator, ask your national consortium contacts to check for the partner eligibility rules and force all members of your national consortia to check them and to report accordingly. Check the national consortium eligibility rules. For instance, what should be the percentage of SMEs, the research part, and the universities? We already had quite some surprises. For instance, where a country gave a green evaluation, but finally there was no funding because the consortium was not eligible. So we really ask you to check it carefully. Eligibility rules per country might change over the years. Also check this. And finally, check specific project constraints. For instance, the balance of country participation. It might be that one country has a large participation compared to the other countries. And this might be a reason for that country to say, okay, this is not sufficient for us, this is not a good international cooperation. And therefore, it might bring your funding in danger. What we also see is that public authorities are more and more checking what is going on in the other countries. So they check the funding status of the other countries, and they might be waiting until decisions are taken in other countries. About the preparation of your national applications. Gather as soon as possible information on the national application deadlines. You must know when you have to apply for your funding. Don't take the risk to miss a deadline there. The ITEA office also gathers information about national application deadlines from the public authorities. And this information is stored on the project area on the ITEA community website under the tab Countries, where you will find a section on country date information. And there you will find the information about the national call deadlines. As a project leader and a national country coordinator, monitor the funding applications of the national consortia. Take care that people are taking the steps that are needed, that they apply for funding. Update the first two columns in the section country date information that you can find in the project area on the ITEA community website under the tab Countries. In this way also the ITEA office is aware what is going on, and if you are in line with the calls of the different countries. As project leader, update your international project based on the potential changes at the national level. So if there is any change, you should report it on the website. Make it up to date. In particular, when there is different partners, if there is different national coordinators, all these changes, please make it clear on the website. And submit a change request when a major changes have occurred. This is to formalize all these changes. Preparing risks and mitigations. For several projects, you can expect that some countries will not fund. Then a project reconstruction will be needed. And reconstructing takes time. You need to assign new tasks to other partners, or you have to skip tasks even. There might be potentially a new project leader if the country of the project leader is not funded, for instance. Sometimes you have to search for new partners who can provide you the necessary technology or knowledge. The later the restructuring takes place, the harder it will be for the remaining partners to get funding. You might have a postponed start date or even uncertainty on the project viability. Think about the limited viability of the ITEA label. Less remaining budget at country level. Recommendations. Prepare the most probable scenarios. So take care what can happen and then make a plan B, make a plan C. For instance, what would be the new project structure if all the negative FPP evaluations would become negative funding decisions? What about when a major player withdraws? including the impact of the project leader leaving. Have mitigations plans ready to be able to react instantaneously to major events. Make early decisions when uncertainty is low. If it's pretty clear that some partners won't get funding, already restructure the project accordingly. So do not waste time and do not wait for them. We recommend to fight when there is a chance or an absolute need, but avoid losing time on a lost cause. As stated in the ITEA rules, what is the project start? The project start date is defined as the start of the international collaboration. And international is important. That means that you should have partners in more than one country. The formal definition of the ITEA start date of a project is the international kick-off meeting, managed by a project partner with the validation of the international project coordinator, where all project partners are invited. So this is really an important meeting where all the partners gather and they kick off the whole project. A project should start as soon as the main contributors are ready to start. So you do not need to wait for everyone to be ready, or as soon as the project leader considers the project should start. It is considered by default that to start a project needs at least 2 different organizations from 2 different countries, of which one must be a Eureka member country and the other one needs to be a Eureka member country or a Eureka associated country. For instance, an example is Canada, which is an associated country. This should include the project leader. After that, you can also add countries which are not even part of Eureka. Public funding is not a prerequisite to be a partner, so partners can also participate at their own funding. Project leaders are due to notify the ITEA program coordinators of the start dates of their projects as soon as these dates are known. When a project is finally about to start the project coordinator should start to initiate the preparation and the signature of the project cooperation agreement. A template for the project cooperation agreement has been prepared by the legal representatives of the ITEA board members, and we recommend that you use this in the first place. It can be downloaded from the ITEA website. You can adapt the template if you want, but of course then you need also the approval of all the legal representatives of your partners in that case. The installation of a project coordination committee is the next step you have to take. Each partner should assign a representative, preferably a higher level manager, for the project coordination committee. The project coordination committee is not really a partner or a part of the project. The project coordination committee is more to monitor and to steer the project towards its goal from the view of the partners. In case there are any conflicts in the project, the PCC can mediate between the different partners, or even if necessary they can make decisions by means of voting, and each partner has 1 vote in that case. Now a few things about improving your project. Quite often there is a number of things mentioned which should be improved. First of all, the technical innovation. ITEA projects should have some technical innovation, but the technical innovation can only be measured if we know the state of the art. So you have to clearly identify what is this current state of the art in your domain. And then we can judge what is the technical innovation opposed to this state of the art. ITEA projects should aim for business impact. So what are the market opportunities of the different partners? What exploitable results and/or standards do the partners aim for? direct or indirect participation of user organizations for user requirements and validation is a strong advantage for the project, and it can help you to bring your results to the market. The further you get into your project, the more important the impact for the business is taking place. And ITEA will really check on the impact. The third important issue is the quantification of your objectives and achievements. We can only measure your achievements and your progress if you have quantified your objectives and your achievements. It is also a means to later on convince your customers about the results of your project. So do not only describe what you will realize, what you want to make, but also the improvements and how well you will achieve it. How well are your results? This is important to especially convince your customers. Define metrics, quantify baselines and targets. Then focus the project. It might be that your project, that the size is changed, partners have left, new partners have come in. In this case, you might need to refocus your project. It is important to keep a focus on the project which is realizable. Ensure also a strong lead, if needed, by putting some big players or end users in central position. They are the ones who can show you where to go to. What is your target? Also lean management. Focus on what matters most in terms of outputs. Select only the deliverables that really matter. We do not want to have a big bunch of deliverables. We only want to have the deliverables which are meaningful for you as partners. Actual achievements that help getting closer to the business goals. Thank you for your attention.